Welcome everyone to the channel, and in this video we're going to go over how you can set up the hit reaction inside Unreal Engine. I already have a video talking about physics control which we are going to use in this video as well. Alright, so first of all, before anything else, we need to set up the plugin of physics control inside Unreal Engine. So just go to edits, plugins, and enable physics control and restart your project if you are working in any one of them. All right, and after that, just for my project it will be different for yours because you are going to set up inside your own character, but for me I'm going to add two templates. Okay, so inside the add features we will have the first person and the third person to get the character body and a first person camera character already ready for us. Okay, so we're going to just add both of them to our project. Right, so the next thing that we want to do is actually see how we are going to move around the world. Because if we go to the world settings and if I try to play over here, we don't have a game mode. So we need to set that up. So we're going to select PP first person game mode, and we are also going to go to the first person blueprint and put this BP pickup rifle in front of us so that we can pick it up and shoot some bullets. So firstly, we need to set up a line trace. So we're going to go inside the BP first person character, and over here we're going to make a key event. This is a basic event which will run if I press the F key or any key that you set up over here. Upon pressing, we're going to print out a string which will say shoot. And after the printing of the string, we're going to get a line trace by channel. Now this line trace needs a start location and the end location. This location is going to get referenced from our first person camera because we're going to send out a trace from our camera to wherever we are looking into a particular amount of distance. So from your first person camera, just drag out and call for get world location. The other thing that you want is to get forward vector. Now we're just going to drag it back. The start location is going to be the world location of our camera, and the end location is going to be our forward vector multiply by 100, or you can make it 1000. Completely depends on your project and the type of gun maybe you are using. And after the multiplication, we're going to add the forward vector with the world location, and that will be our end location. Right? Now, the next thing that we want to do is if we do hit, then this return value will turn out to be true, and upon the truth, we're going to print another string, right? But this time, instead of a hard-coded some kind of a string, we're going to get our own hit results. We're going to get the actor that we just hit, and we're going to print its display name. All right, so let's see what we get. So if I press F, we are not able to see the line trace. So what we're going to do is go back to our first person character, go to the throw debug type, and just for the testing purposes, we're going to make this persistent. Compile and save everything. And now we're going to go back and trace everything again. So as you can see, there's a persistent trace. And if I click on it, it says landscape streaming proxy and then some number. Now, how can we do this same thing with the character? So we're going to drag out our third person character, and just imagine that this is a AI and not really a player character or a pawn character. And it designated to be standing over here, and maybe we can shoot it, right? So we don't need a gun right now. And if I just shoot over here, as you can see, the line trace just passes through her. That's weird. Why it's not connecting to it? So to be able to connect to it, the line trace needs to trace through a visibility channel. It can change, it can also track through a camera channel, but why is it not doing? Because we can visually see our mesh. Well, that happens because if we go inside our third person character, click on mesh and drag down, you will see inside the collision preset, the visibility in itself is being ignored. If for your character it's not being ignored, it will work completely fine. But in my case, it's being ignored. And if you have made a completely new project, it will say exactly. So how we can save it or how we can change it is there are actually two ways to do this. Firstly, you can just make a custom node and change the value of the visibility. And the other way is to actually go inside the edit and not the plugins, but the edit project settings and then search for trace channels. Inside the trace channels, you can actually create your own traces, completely new, completely custom. Something like bullets. So we can make a completely separate channel which will be used by our bullets and it will be blocked by everything. We will accept it and close it. And now if we go and click on Untitled and play, you will see that it still goes through. Well, the reason is we need to set it up over here. Right now the trace channel is visibility. We need to change it to bullet. And now if we do it, as you can see, it connected to the character. But even now, it's not actually colliding with the body because you see this red dot is the actual location of the impact. And as you can see, it's very far away from the body. That means it's not actually colliding with the body itself, but the capsule around it, this capsule. So how we can change it? We were basically going to go inside the capsule component, go inside the collision preset, make it custom, and then we're going to ignore the bullet trace just inside the capsule component and nothing else. Now if we go back and play, you will see that we are actually colliding with the body instead of the capsule component. That means we can get the bone that we are colliding with. Now let's just test it out for once and we're going to see if we are actually hitting a bone or not. If I place the hit bone name inside the print string, you will see that we are hitting spine, head, lower arm, hand, and feet or foot. So now that the line trace is working, we are getting information about it. Let's send some information back and make the character do something about it. Alright? So inside the BP third person character, we're going to make a interface that will basically be a message receiver of an event. Alright? So we're going to go inside the content drawer, inside the third person blueprints. We're going to right click and go to the blueprints and have a blueprint interface. Over here, we're just going to say it as the bullet interface or something like that. It is completely up to you. Just remember the name because we need to implement it. And inside the bullet, we're going to make a function called hit reaction. Again, this is a completely customizable name. You can name it anything that you want. Now this function will have two inputs. First is going to be the impulse and the second one is going to be the bone name. The impulse is going to be a type of a vector and the bone name is going to be a type of name. And once you have done that, just compile everything, go to your third-person character, class settings, then implemented interfaces, and then just search for your interface, which was bullet in my case. Then double click on hit reaction. And what we're basically going to do is once this event runs, we are basically going to get our mesh and set to simulate physics, right? And we're going to set it to be true. But for this to work, we have to make sure that our mesh is firstly collision enabled query and physics, and the object type is going to be physics body. So now let's go to the first person character, and over here we're going to call that particular function that we just created. And it's pretty easy. We're just going to go inside the truth and we're going to name that thing, which is hit reaction. And as soon as you do that, it will ask you for a target. Which target do we want to go to? And it's going to be our hit factor. Okay, so basically attach it to the target. The location, the impulse, this is a bit complicated, but the pawn name is going to be the hit pawn name. Now for the impulse, what kind of impulse do we want? In our case, the impulse is going to be a directional vector. Okay, so if we go get a unit directional vector, it will create a vector from a location to a location. Okay, and what is going to be? So from is going to be our first person camera's world location, and to is going to be our impact location. So we will basically have a direction towards our hit point from our camera just by using this node. Now we need to multiply it by some number to make it effective. Otherwise, it will not be effective at all. I'm going to put something like 5000 and put that inside the impulse. Right now, it doesn't do anything but just simulate physics because that's what we are doing. So let's see if it will simulate physics or not. As you can see, that as soon as I hit it, it falls down. All right, the next thing that we want to do is set up that impulse. So we're going to go to the components and add physics control. If for some reason you don't see it, that means that you still haven't enabled the plugin yet. So go ahead and enable the plugin and you will see the physics control. Get it and get your begin play event. After that, grab your physics control and then go create controls from body modifiers and limb bones. All right. And now we need to set all of these things up so that we will be able to have a physics body and animation blended in itself. All right. So the first thing is the skeletal mesh, which is going to be our mesh itself. Then it's going to be our limb setup data, which we will set up as variable. Same with world space, parent space, and body modifier. Now let me just set them up nicely. And now we can set all of them up. Firstly, for the limb setup data, we need to set up the name. We need to give it a name, and we need to have a bone name as the start bone of that particular limb. Now, how are we going to get the bone name? Just go to your mesh, double click on skeletal mesh asset, and then click on this joint over here. This will give you the physics asset of your character, and that's what we need. Now drag this, bring it in front of you as a different window. And now we're going to set all of them up using all of these skeletons or all of these bones. So go back to your limb setup data, and now Firstly, we're going to set up for the head. Now, as you can see over here, the head is the basically child of the neck bone. So the start bone is going to be neck 01. If you are if you think that you will make mistake and won't be able to type in correctly, just go to the bone name, right click, copy the body name, and come back to the start bone and paste it. It's just that simple. And don't touch anything else. Then close the index and make the new one. This is going to be the left arm. Alright, the start bone name is going to be the clavicle L, as in left. Now we're going to need another one, which is going to be the right arm, which is going to be the clavicle R. And we need to do the same with legs. So left leg, which is going to be the thigh L, and a right leg, which is going to be thigh right. Now there is one more thing, and those are the spines. You also need to set the spines as limb for them to be like react properly. But there is one thing that to keep in mind, and that is to keep the pelvis always in kinematic mode. You don't want to simulate pelvis until and unless you're basically ragdolling. All right. So we are not going to select pelvis. We are only going to select the spine 02. So create a new node, and this limb is going to be called spine, and the start bone is going to be called spine underscore 02. All right. So the limb setup data has been done. Let's move on to the actual impact. So we're going to drag out the mesh. Oh, before we do that, we need to set up the world space and parent space. So let's also do that. In the world space, the linear strength is going to be 3. The angular strength is going to be 3. And nothing else. In the parent space, the angular strength is going to be 10. And it's not going to be enabled. And the only child control object will be enabled as well. This is for future use. For now, we are not going to enable it at all. Then inside the body modifier data, we're going to open it up, and we're going to keep it this way, but we're going to increase the gravity so that we can see that yes, it is influenced by the physics. So we're going to make it 15 to see that. Right? Let's also see it, because without us doing anything, on the event begin play, this character will be influenced by the gravity. So if we play, as you can see, it's slugging. I don't know the word for it, but it's doing that. It's being influenced by the gravity. So let's go back, set the gravity back to 1, and let's set up the impulse. So we're going to get the mesh, and we're going to add impulse to it. Right? And it's going to be very simple. We just need to attach the impulse to impulse and bone to bone and enable value change. And that's it. Anyways, so if I hit the character in head, as you can see, it bounces back. And not in just one direction. If I hit him or her from the back, it switches in that direction. If I am able to hit the hand, it will be seen much better. Alright, pretty good. Now we are able to hit the character, but how about ragdolling? How about like when the player or the AI dies, right? It should also be included in the video, so let's do that as well. In our case, we're going to do it by a countdown. We don't have a health system and we don't have time for the health system. So it's going to be a countdown. We're going to make a variable and that will be a countdown, and it's going to be a type of integer, and every single time we add an impulse, we're going to decrease the countdown. I'm going to decrease it by the decrement int from the countdown. All right. Once you have done that, we're going to drag this out, make a branch node, which will check in the condition if this countdown is equal to 0 or not. Okay. But if we do it this way, that means that it will run, this impulse will run when we are at 0, which is not exactly what we want. And we want the quite opposite of it. So what we're going to do is add another node, which is going to be not boolean, which will basically flip the boolean value. If this is true, it's going to send out false. If it false, then it's going to send out true. Now inside the false, we're going to set up the ragdolling phase. So before we do the ragdoll and we simulate physics for the whole body, we actually need to disable control. Okay, so we're going to drag out our physics control. Then we're going to drag out and say set control enabled. But we're going to choose this one, set controls in set enabled. All right, and the set is going to be called all, and we're going to disable the enable option. After this, we are basically going to get the mesh again, and we're going to set all bodies to simulate physics, this one. And the new simulate is going to be true. And now there's just one thing that will be quite unnatural. Right now, if we do this, the character is going to just fall on her or his knees, and that's it. It will not do anything else. It will not be flung back because of the bullet impact. It will just like fall down, straight down, right? So to add that particular impact, we need to add another impulse. But we're going to give this physics setting up a time. So we're going to get a delay till next tick. All right. And after the next tick, we're going to add an impulse again. Again, the impulse is going to be the same, and the bone name is going to be the same as well. And that's it. All right. So let's go and let's see if we can do that. Oh, one thing that I haven't set it up is the countdown. Countdown is 0. Let's make it 2. So probably after 3 shots, it will fall down. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Did you see that? If I haven't added that impulse, it will just fall down right straight in front of us rather than going all the way there. All right. And with that, you can also shoot it any more times as you want, and it will react naturally as it will to any kind of gun. Now the heat reaction and everything is done. Let's go over to how we can set it up to any kind of object or projectile inside our system. So if you go to the content first person blueprint, there is our projectile blueprint. So if you don't see this interface in front of you, all you have to do is right click on any kind of projectile object and then search for event hit. And this particular event will bring you to this event over here, this function over here, and it contains everything that we need. Whenever the projectile actor hits something, it will send out signals with all of these informations, right? Right now, everything is working as intended for the first person project, right? But we want them to set up for our character. With these nodes, I have checked it, and our character is not simulating physics, so it falls under the false category. Okay, so what we're going to do is actually we're going to print out string, and we're going to go and get the hit result. We're going to break the hit result, and we're going to print out our hit character actor and see if our ball is hitting our character or not. We're going to get this and shoot our character. As you can see, it is shooting him and shooting her, and it's working. So now what we want to do, let's go back to the projectile, and all we have to do is just add that particular event, which was hit reaction. The target is again going to be the hit actor. The pawn name is going to be the hit pawn name, and this time the impulse is we are actually going to get it from the get velocity, and you can just call it anywhere else. You just have to type in get velocity and you have it. All right, and what we want to do is we're going to multiply this velocity by just 5. Okay, we're not going to do it by the huge amount of 5,000, just 5, and then we're going to add that to the impulse. All right, and that's it. Now if we save everything, make sure to save everything, and now if we play the game, as you can see, wherever our ball hits, it shoots the player. And that is the whole hit reaction stuff. We really don't have much to it. I mean, you can increase the countdown, or you can, instead of the countdown, have your health system handle the ragdolling state. Right now, we may be able to make this countdown to 5, so it will survive 5 shots, and after that it will die. You can change it however you want, you can update it however you want, and I would like to see how well and how much you guys can expand on this. And again, if you didn't understand anything in this particular video, then feel free to comment down below and ask the questions. Now there's just one little bug that we need to fix, and that is this one right here. I'm trying to walk, but something is blocking my way, and that particular thing is the capsule component of our third person character. So what we want to do is, upon that, okay, so upon being ragdolled, we're going to get our capsule component, and we're going to set collision enabled to no collision at all. And with just that small fix, everything will work nicely. Also, this project will be available for download on my GitHub page. I will send out the link at the description, so you can basically mess around inside this project as much as you want. It is completely yours for free. Play around it and have fun, and really have fun with this. I mean, it's too far, and also the reason why the character is going that far is this, like over here, is this one. Okay, if I set this velocity to 5 as well, it will not fly that much. Okay, so it's that one. So have fun and enjoy, and that was me. See you in the next video. Until then, happy developing. Bye bye.